St. Joseph Sports Network is on the air. Today's broadcast of Hawk Talk is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Caring is in all of us. Lankenau Medical Center, the best place to rebound from an injury or illness. Rothman Orthopedics, for orthopedic excellence. Think Rothman first. And J.D. McGilla Cuttings, a perfect place to unwind after a long day. And your home of the St. Joseph's Athletics Radio Show. Come in today and let our friendly staff welcome you in and treat you as one of our own. Now, let's go inside J.D. McGilla Cuttings and join our host, Joe Lenardi.
Everybody, welcome to J.D. McGilla Cuttings in Havertown. I'm not Joe Lenardi. Joe Greenwich filling in. Got Matt Martucci alongside me. He'll be joining us later, as will St. Joseph's Athletic Director Jill Bodensteiner. Tonight, very special night, we've got St. Joseph's field hockey in the house. Let's hear it for the Hawks. 13-1, 6-0 in the Atlantic 10, ranked 11th in the country. A couple of big games coming up this weekend. We've got head coach Lynn Farquhar, joined by senior captains Catherine Bentz and Victoria Kamarinka. Everybody, thanks for being here. So we've got Vic and Kat right now. Let's talk a little bit about what you guys have been up to this year. Obviously, we mentioned being 13-1, off to I guess not really a start anymore. We're getting close to the end of the season. So let's talk a little bit about that. When you guys started the preseason, obviously you want to win every game. That's always the goal. But what was your focus coming into the season? You're coming off of a couple of NCAA tournament appearances. What was your number one team mantra coming into this 2019 season?
So coming into the season, especially coming off a very successful season last year, we had a very big incoming freshman class. So the main goal for preseason pretty much was to get everybody on the same page as quickly as possible and just really form that team quickly and go from there.
You know, Kat, as a field player, we hear from Victoria, the standout goalkeeper. As a field player, you know, in your position defensively, people use the phrase like a coach on the field. When you see those new players coming in, what are you seeing those first couple days of training? Is it their talent? Is it their play style? What are you picking up on when you see them come in with such a large group?
One thing that's really cool to see is how everyone is ready to compete and just puts it out there on the field. And going into preseason, I was excited because we came off of a really strong season last year, but we lost some key players, so we knew we had to fill those positions, and we worked on that in spring. But then we saw some of our freshmen stepping up during preseason, which was really cool because it helps us to explore new opportunities and like a new style of play, which was really nice.
Now, you guys talked about having freshmen on your team this year. Let's go back to your freshman years. Both of you came to St. Joseph's from Germany. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what brought you here? Kat, we'll start with you. What brought you from Hamburg to Philadelphia?
When I was in high school, I always wanted to go abroad, and I didn't really know when or what I wanted to do, but I didn't do it during high school. So once I decided not to do it during that time, I said I'm definitely gonna go once I'm done with high school, and I kind of looked into my opportunities, what I could do. And it's really cool how here your college education is linked together with athletics. You don't have that at home, so it's really neat how you can align your schedules and you really play for your university. That sounded really cool, so I started looking into it, and I got to talk to Lynn and the culture and how she told me about the program and what she was trying to do was really interesting, and it really got me into it.
Yeah, Kat already took everything I wanted to say away, but just to add to that, very similar for me. Obviously, I wanted to continue playing field hockey after high school, and just coming here is the best opportunity to continue to do both, play field hockey at a very high level, which we've seen over the last years, and also be able to continue an education.
Vic, if you wouldn't mind, if we can get Coach Farquhar on headset here. The three-time Atlantic 10 here, Lynn Farquhar joining us. Coach, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Sure. Pleasure to be here.
We just talked to Kat and Vic about what brought them here to St. Joseph. So I'll put you on the spot.
Okay.
What did you see in them, and what is it that you're looking for in a player to bring them, whether it's from Germany or from Argentina or from a high school in Bucks County? What is it that you're looking for when you're trying to bring in the newest crop of Hawks?
Sure. So it goes along with the theme that's small but mighty. That's what we're looking for. So we need workers. And everyone here, that senior class, there's 8 that's graduating this year, they're all workers. Whether they're from the 2-hour radius, where we have that hometown feel, or from across the globe, where we have the thinking outside of the box and willing to experience something greater than themselves. But the work rate, the compassion for teammates, and then the willingness to grow something and really think outside of the box to do it, because it hadn't been done here before.
And use the phrase small but mighty. Would you say that's the kind of like the tagline for SJU field hockey? Like if you had to come up with like a quote for the movie poster, would that be it?
That is part of our mission.
All right, so we asked them about their time. You're in your 6th season now. Obviously, the team has gone to heights it hasn't gone to before, but what do you think has been the biggest change in the program in your time? Is there something that you've tried to instill in the players? Is it something larger? What do you think is the biggest difference between when you got here and now that has allowed the program, or has propelled the program to the heights where it currently sits?
We talk about the same things as year 1, and that is team, the effort component on and off the field, and then positive action. So every year that's been a component, but this group has believed in it more and more every year, and then it's action based. So we always revisit the same thing. We'll build on what we have. We talk about the foundation being the most important. It's the same thing as these guys started as support players and really had to buy into it, and now they're at the top and they're leading it. So the biggest thing throughout the 6 years, I think, has been taking a step further, and our leadership has been something that's grown tremendously because we're instilling the same habits over and over again.
That kind of leads into something else we wanted to talk about. Catherine, we were talking earlier about the team culture that you guys have established. Tell us a little bit about that. What do you think is the biggest component of that, and how does that affect your team and help lift you to where you are?
So the most important part about our team is our foundation, and it's, as Lynn said, 100% effort, team first, and intentional positive actions. And our team is really built on that, and we rely on each other to live those things. And then every year we determine what success looks like for us, so that looks a little different, and it grows from year to year, but it really leads back into those foundations.
Yeah, pretty much just adding to that. Those foundations are something that we always can come back to, or if we have a practice that isn't quite going our way, or a game as well, and we've seen that, it's just something that can get us back on the same page again and take it from there.
All right, well, now we'll bring it back to the present. Big weekend, your last home games of the season. Friday, Davidson, Atlantic 10 game. What is your mindset going into that game, your last home conference game of the season?
Well, every A10 conference game is very important to us, because ultimately for us to make the A10 tournament, we have to win those games. So first thing on our mind is Davidson, and always a very competitive game, and we're very looking forward to it, to welcome a big crowd on our home turf. And just taking in that spirit.
And then on Sunday, everybody knows Michigan, you guys played the NCAA tournament last year. Great game, didn't go the Hawks' way. They're coming to your turf on Sunday. Hawks ranked 11th, Wolverines ranked 7th in the country. Kat, tell us about, obviously you're focused on Friday. That's the most important thing. Come 5, 6 o'clock on Friday, you start focusing on Sunday. You guys have played against a lot of big-name teams, a lot of ranked teams, and you've beaten them. What is it about this group that allows them to ignore the name on the jersey, play the game, and win the game?
One thing that makes up our team is the willingness to compete, and once we go out there, we really want to go after it. And you brought up last year's game. Unfortunately, we weren't able to come out as strong as we are, we played a better second half, but this year we are focused on going after them from second one until the final whistle is blown. So, yeah, we hope it goes our way, and it's our home turf. It's always exciting to play there. It's our spirit out there, so we want to defend that.
Now, Coach, 6 games this year against teams currently ranked in the poll. Talk to us a little bit about the importance of going out and playing these games against these teams in your non-conference schedule, and really, I mean, I guess kind of trial by fire with the team. If you want to be the best, you've got to play against the best. Talk to us a little bit about your scheduling philosophy in that regard.
Well, it's huge. This group has built every single year, and so this year was a test of, can we really pump up that out-of-conference schedule and see what happens. So like Kat said, in the beginning of preseason, they came ready. They were fit, ready to compete. They were on a mission to do something bigger, and the returners spent not only this year but all spring working towards it. I'm proud of how they've competed so far. We've learned a lot of valuable lessons too. There's not many teams that are going to travel 4+ hours same day and hit a top 10 team. Syracuse has won national championship, so that was a huge game for us. Sometimes you learn more with losses than wins, but the biggest thing is they're willing to battle as a team, and that's why we're here right now.
One thing you see a lot when a team has a good start, has a good record, there can be, you have these big name teams on your schedule, and then you have, you kind of have to come back to conference play. It's almost like, you have to go to your 9-to-5 job to enjoy yourself that night. Can you just tell us a little bit about the focus that you guys have to treat each game like the most important game of the season?
Well, we're still working on that. That's the fun part. It's always, how can we improve? What are we good at? What's our style? What's our culture? Building off that, but then always looking to improve something just by 1%. And that's where we go back to a strength-based. So as long as we all improve just a little bit on our biggest strength, we're going to improve as a team. So we've kept on that mission. And really, it's about loving what you do every day, enjoying the intensity. That's why we bring these guys in, is you don't have to be the most skilled, but you have to want to work really hard and buy into that team philosophy. We're a passing style. We want to play with intensity. We love to compete, and that's in anything. These guys will, as long as there's a competition, they're bought in. So we have some fun games outside of hockey too, but it's about the process, and that's really it.
All right, well, Coach Lynn Farquhar, senior goalkeeper Victoria Kamarenka, senior back Catherine Benz, thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to be right back with a little deeper dive into St. Joseph Field Hockey here on the SJU Athletics radio show live from JD McGillicuddy's in Havertown. We'll be right back.
I'm Dick Vermeil, and I know all about the benefits of being with the right team. And the right team is the one that cares more about you. For more than 80 years, Independence Blue Cross has been helping people access the care they need, giving them the security that comes with a card that's recognized nationwide. That's Medicare that cares back. That's the benefit of Blue.
Call 844-564-5266. Independence Blue Cross offers products through its subsidiaries Independence Hospital Indemnity Plan, Keystone Health Plan East, and QCC Insurance Company. Independent licensees of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Hey Hawk fans, hungry or thirsty after the game? Stop by J.D. McGillicuddy's Havertown or Upper Darby locations. J.D.'s is a proud sponsor of St. Joseph's Athletics. Their sports bar and food is one of a kind. Try their world-famous wings, burgers, steaks, or one of their famous Big Five sandwiches. They have it all. When the Hawks are on the road, catch the game there on one of their 10 flat-screen TVs. The Hawk will never die at J.D. McGillicuddy's Sports Pub. For more info, check out their website at jdmcgillicuddys.com. Go Hawks!
We're back here at JD McGillicuddy's. We're back with St. Joseph's Field Hockey head coach Lynn Farquhar. We got a couple more of our seniors who we'll introduce to you in just a moment. These guys are a member of the Hawks leadership group. Coach, why don't you tell us a little bit about the idea of a leadership group? We had Victoria and Catherine were 2 of your 3 team captains. You have a large senior class. So your leadership obviously goes beyond just those that wear the captain's C. So tell us a little bit about the leadership group and what you're looking for from them and basically how it came about.
Sure. So every year we're really looking to build that culture. And what I've said before is it's really cool that our leaders have strengthened, and that's powerful. We have some voices on the field. They know exactly what to do in the moment. But what's more important, especially with this age group, is that followership. So we have captains who have responsibilities, and then these guys are almost more important because they're getting the rest of the team on board. So they take a huge role in what we do. And it is really cool because this group of 8, like I said, have grown tremendously as individuals, not only wanting to improve themselves, but they're improving a group. And to really look within yourself and be willing to do that takes special people. So I'm really proud of them. And it's also an exciting year to see your 8 little babies, and all of a sudden they're running the ship.
Well, Coach, we're going to talk to a couple of them right now. Thank you for joining us. Good luck on Friday, good luck on Sunday, and good luck moving forward.
Thanks so much. Hopefully we have a big crowd on both Friday and Sunday. Senior game is Sunday, so it's going to be a quite inspirational and passionate game. Could use some cheering on the sideline.
Expect to see every face in this room at Ellen Ryan Field on Sunday. But right now we're going to talk a little bit more about the leadership aspect and the ins and outs of the field hockey program. We've got senior Peppa Serrano and senior Dana Turner with us. So why don't you guys, we heard what Coach said about the leadership group, what it means to her and why she thinks it's important. What does it mean to you, we'll start with Dana, to be, first of all, to be asked to be a part of it? Is that something you're asked to do? Is it something you're voted on? How did you become a part of this?
Yeah, it is something that we're asked to do. To be in that group and to be on our team in general, you need to value team over yourself and be willing to put yourself in situations that might be uncomfortable for you, but value the team and are the best for the team at heart. So it's an honor to be in that group, that my teammates and my coaches see me as well as the other people in that group in a position to put others and to put the team above yourself and to act in that way. So.
And Peppa, what did it mean to you to be invited to be one of the important team leaders?
So it's pretty cool because we started in spring building off a big group that we knew we were going to have a really big class coming, and we all can bring our strengths to it, so we all have different roles in the leadership group, and that connects really well, and we combine our best to just turn it on the team then.
Now, one of the things that goes with being a leader is you draw on your previous experience. You guys are in your 4th year in the program now. So I guess the one question I have is what have you learned over your time on Hawk Hill with Coach Farquhar and the field hockey program that you bring to this leadership? What is it that you've taken from your time that you are trying to instill upon your teammates, whether they're freshmen or sophomores or even juniors?
I would say for me, it's a choice to show up every day and work hard and push the people around you to make yourself better and make other people better. And we've had selfless leaders move throughout the program that have shown what that looks like, not only what that sounds like, but what it feels like and everything like that as well. So for me, I would say just showing up every day, controlling the controllables. You can control your attitude, you control your work rate, and being able to push yourself to make yourself better, but also the people around you better.
Yeah, so personally, I believe being on the same page and knowing where we're going. So right now we're in season and it's the end almost, and we're getting where we wanted to. And just knowing our goal and the mission of this season, where we want to be, and showing up and building off that every day.
You talked about, the things that you're trying to instill upon younger teammates. Who would you say throughout your time, it doesn't have to be a teammate, it'd be better for us if it was, but who would you say is your leadership role model? Who did you draw inspiration from when you were asked to be a part of this group? Who was it that you thought, hey, that's who I want to be like? That's the person who really reached me in a way that maybe no one else has or no one else has since. Who is your leadership role model, either on the team or in life?
I would say for me, a leadership role model had to have been Monica Tice. She was a senior last year on our team. But from the moment I met her my freshman year, she's always been that that worker that just puts her head down and does whatever needs to be done. Never expects recognition, and oftentimes didn't get the recognition I thought she deserved. She was a great player, but she did a lot of the background details of things that were hard, and she never once complained about, oh, it wasn't fair, or oh, I did well, or something like that. She always just showed up every single day, worked her butt off, and knew that that was important, and knew that helped her and helped the people around her. And she was always in that leadership position, so it was easy to see her as a spotlight. But I even know she doubted her leadership because she kind of felt like weird in that position, which I think made me value that even more. So my role model is definitely Monica. But
Monica, one of 3 players, she played every single game for her career, holds the Hawk record, which could fall this year, depending on how far you guys are able to take things this year. But definitely a great choice. You mentioned kind of an underrated player, was able to get some accolades her senior year, richly deserved. Great choice. Peppa, how about you?
So for me, I would say Anna. She was here when I came here first to visit. She was my host, so I knew her from the beginning. And what I like from her is that she led it by example. So sometimes you don't need to say anything, but just do it. And that's something I really took from her and really helpful to the team too.
I'm talking about Anna Willix, who graduated as the Hawks' all-time leading scorer in goals, assists, and points. Now, obviously, earlier this year, you broke that record for career assists. Did you text her? Did you email her? Did you immediately, remind her that had happened?
Yeah. So she graduated last year, as you said, and she left a note in my locker saying, "You better beat my record." So from the beginning, I was into that. But she's my friend, so we keep on in touch all the time. We want to play together again.
You didn't waste any time. I think it was like the 3rd game of the season.
Yeah.
That record went down. But another great choice, like you said, a leader by example. You would never have known that she was the all-time leading scorer, the league's player of the year. She was just like Monica, showed up and put in the work. Great choices, great players to model yourselves after. You talked, Pep, actually about your visit. You're coming from Argentina.
Yes.
I want to talk to both of you about, you guys have a great mix of players from abroad and from nearby. We talked about the team culture with Kat and Vic, and Coach talked about a little bit too. How are you guys able to so easily integrate people from all different backgrounds, whether they're from, thousands of miles away or from right up the street, into the Hawk hockey family?
Yeah, it's actually a really good question. I think coming in freshman year, we were all kind of hesitant. We're a huge class, and we were coming from all areas of the world. And we knew that to perform on the field and to work well together, we needed to know and get to know each other and kind of become a family off the field as well. So just taking that time to actually work on the language barrier and figure out what we actually meant to do. But then all of us host from America. So I host Victoria at my house on Thanksgiving, and over the summer sometimes and stuff like that, we've been able to actually integrate them into our whole family. Right. So our Hawk family doesn't include our team and our players. It includes all of our family and our family's family, and we've actually become a really tight-knit community, stemming away from just our team and the people on the field.
And you talked about hosting during holidays and summers. Some of you have traveled to visit them at home over the summer too, right?
Yeah, actually this past summer, four members of our team, Courtney and Corinne Gerber and Emily Sayer and I went to New Zealand, and we stayed with Tanya for a week, and that was amazing, and it was cool to see just the way Tanya lives, and she's been with our family a lot too, so just being able to experience that is really cool.
Now, Peppa, from the other side, what was it like for you to try to, you come all this way? Was that your first time in the United States when you came to visit?
No. Okay. I came before just for holidays. Mm-hmm. But I started university at home, and I was playing hockey at home. I wasn't expected to come here at all, and that's why I came late, as you remember. But yeah, it was pretty cool to came to visit and see how it was, and I saw myself here, so that's why I decided to come.
I was just saying, what do you think has been the most important thing that your teammates did during that time to help you adjust to a new place, a new lifestyle?
Yeah, well, I was lucky because I was not the only one that foreign to come here. We were a big Cat myself and Anna was already here. And my freshman year, Martu was here too. Now she's back, but that was really helpful for me to have other people that are not from here.
So you guys like to have fun. We know that that's a big part of your team. I was told to ask you guys about your favorite practice. Is it a specific practice? Is it something that you like about practice?
I've one in mind, but we talk about it a lot in the locker room as seniors, so it stems back to our freshman year. We were really card happy. We got a lot of cards our freshman year, and Lynn.
And by that we mean like yellow cards and green cards. We don't mean Christmas cards and birthday cards.
No greeting cards. No, we got a lot of yellow cards and green cards, and one weekend Lynn was like, what if we just don't get any cards this weekend? Like, does that sound good to everyone? Like, we work on that. And we ended up asking, if we get no cards, do you think you can make us a cake? She finally got agreed to it, and we got no cards that weekend. So on Tuesday, our hardest practice of the week usually, we showed up, and she decided, guys, actually, let's do a pool workout, but it was like a pool party, and then we had a cake, and it was the best practice ever. It's never happened since, but you can always hope. We talk about it all the time, that our freshman year, but that was just the best thing ever, because we got a cake, and we had a pool party, and we got to skip out on the hardest practice of the week. So,
Peppa, do you have a memory other than the pool party?
I would say when Lynn had to pad up, and she played as a goalie, right? Mm-hmm. And she played with Vic, and it was so funny because we were shooting on goal to her.
All right.
Pretty weird, but funny at the same time.
Now, were those shots coming in a little harder? Were you going easier on her? What?
She was actually really good. Yeah. She was good, so we couldn't really score on her.
And does she remind you about that frequently?
Yeah, it was kind of frustrating. We're like, why are you so good at this? Like, we're supposed to score.
One of the things I see you guys do after games is you guys, when you have your meeting, you give out awards for the game. Is that something that the coaches pick? Who gets each award? Is it something the team discusses? How do you guys come up with? You see the hard hat, the boxing glove. So I guess tell us a little bit about a couple of those, what those mean to you guys, and what goes into earning that for a game.
So we have the arrow, the hat, that is the thinker, and the
boxing gloves,
for the fighter. And we, as a team, after a game, we choose the connector. That's mm-hmm. the arrow, and coaches choose the thinker and the fighter.
Is that something you guys are trying to earn? It just kind of happens, or do you have it in your mind during the game?
Not really.
Right.
It's
well,
just
good.
I know.
All right. Well, thank you. We had Dana Turner and Peppa Serrano, seniors from the St. Joseph's field hockey team. They'll be out there on Friday afternoon at Ellen Ryan Field over on the St. Joseph's campus when they host Davidson, their final Atlantic 10 home game of the season. And then Sunday afternoon, 12 noon, 7th-ranked Michigan comes to town. A rematch of last year's NCAA tournament first-round game. It'll be senior day on Hawk Hill. Right now, the weather forecast isn't very good. Let's hope that changes. We want to see everyone out there supporting the team, honoring a great senior class, which this week just clinched a share of the Atlantic 10 championship once again. One of the best teams that we've had on campus in a long, long time. Congratulations on everything you've achieved. Good luck achieving even more. Dana, Peppa, Victoria, Catherine, Coach Farquhar, thanks for joining us here on the SJU Athletics radio show. We'll be back. Matt Martucci will join us alongside Jill Bodensteiner here at McGillicuddy's in Havertown. This is the SJU Athletics radio show.
I'm home.
Hi, honey. Did you find your debit card?
Nope, but I disabled it with my Univest app.
Did you deposit my check?
Sure did. Love this Univest app.
And transfer money to Abby?
Done with my app.
Wow. You are awesome.
Handle all your banking remotely with Univest's mobile platform. Easy, convenient, and secure. Because life needs a little more wow. Live life, stay connected with Univest. Univest Bank and Trust Co. is member FDIC.
Life isn't made for pain. Life is made for living. You should be free to run, to jump, to bike, to hike, to work, to play. This is why the experts at Rothman Orthopedics are getting you back in the game. As the official orthopedic partner of the Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, and 76ers, because big or small, epic or ordinary, you deserve to spend your days truly living. We are Rothman Orthopedics. This is living. RothmanOrtho.com.
All right, we are back here on the St. Joseph's Athletics radio show. Live at J.D. McGillicuddy's here, 33 Brookline Boulevard, downtown Havertown. My name is Matt Martucci, voice of the St. Joseph Sports Network, and it's time for our now, what used to be a podcast segment, but now a radio show / streaming segment, Jill on the Hill with St. Joseph's Athletic Director, Jill Bodensteiner. Hi, Jill.
Hi, Matt. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Am I the only one who calls you Matt?
No. I don't think anybody's called me Matthew in a long time.
Okay, what about a nickname?
Everybody calls me Tooch.
Tooch, right. I was going to say, is Matt too formal even? But, okay, we'll stick with Matt.
Yep, absolutely. It's funny, we were, kind of brainstorming. We have a different topic usually every week that we typically throw around. And it's something that I've wondered about for a long time. How do certain universities, how do certain colleges end up with their respective sports marketing partners, with their respective apparel partners? And I think the timing of it is absolutely perfect for what we have going on at St. Joseph's.
Yeah, the timing's perfect in terms of what we have going on campus. But more importantly, I thought this would be a great topic for right now because of what's happening on the national landscape. And so with respect to the name, image, and likeness discussion, the California bill, SB 206, has gotten a lot of play, and it's a fascinating topic in my opinion. And I'm also really honored and thrilled to have been appointed by Dr. Emmert to serve on the committee at the NCAA level to, see what headway we can make on this issue. So, but the key to SB 206 and why apparel deals are really interesting to me right now in particular is that the California law says, as many of our listeners probably know, we believe, and our law says in the state, that student athletes can monetize their name, image, and likeness, but they can't enter into a contract that would conflict with a university partner.
Okay. So for example, if we go all the way back to Ed O'Bannon, and Ed O'Bannon is on UCLA happens to be a Nike school, Ed O'Bannon decides to sign with Adidas, then that's potentially conflict of interest.
Exactly. So, when people give the example, or you hear in the media, oh my gosh, if student athletes are allowed to monetize their name, image, and likeness, would Zion have made $12 million as a college freshman?
Probably.
Right. And he probably would have deserved every penny in some ways. But here's the question that then comes in with the apparel deals is this SB 206 carve out in California that many states are copying that really would say, no, you can't conflict with your university sponsor. So in light of that, I thought it was an interesting time for us to dig in on what are these deals? What do they look like? And, you raised UCLA. We could talk about Washington. We could talk about Texas. So, maybe I could just tell our listeners kind of the general structure of these things.
Yeah, absolutely. How do the general mechanisms and the terms of these deals work? Actually, I guess one of the first places I would start is, do they approach you? Do you approach them? How does that work? And does it depend on the size of the school in terms of who approaches who?
I would say it's consistent a little bit with media rights, right? The Power Five are in a different market.
Sure.
And so, you have three main players, but there are certainly additional players. So you have Under Armour, Adidas, Nike. And then, Puma's got a niche. New Balance has a niche. We've got several sports that are using New Balance products, so on and so forth. So generally, to answer your question, usually it would come in the form of like an RFP. A request for proposal. So if there's a school either that doesn't have a contract, which is rare, or is coming out of contract, it would normally go through the university channels to sort of do a request for proposal and say who's interested in bidding on having us as a partner. So that's how that works. And then, there are the mechanics of the deals are such that I just read a Forbes article published in 2018 that the highest, if you take the top 20 grossing on apparel deals, the highest I think is at about $8 million a year.
Okay.
And so
I'm trying to think if that's low. If I would have thought that would have been lower or higher.
Yep, get a grab on that for a minute. The bottom of the top 20, at least in 2018, was more in the $2 million range. So there's a wide discrepancy even within the top 20 of Division I from $8 million to $2 million. And then how those dollars are structured, a portion of it's cash and a portion of it's product.
Okay.
And so,
Makes sense.
so those deals, they come in all shapes and sizes. There's no, you can look at total value, but every deal is structured so differently, in part based on what's important to the institution. Do I want gear for everybody? Do we need more cash? So there are a lot of considerations, but those are the key to these deals, and in some ways the important thing for name, image, and likeness is that they outfit an entire department. And so whether you have 20 sports like we do, or 26 or 32, you're relying heavily on your partner to help you outfit
everybody. Everybody loves gear.
That's right.
That's what I've found.
Everybody loves gear. So those are that's sort of the range of what's out there.
Okay. Matt Martucci and the St. Joseph's Athletic Director Jill Bodensteiner here for the Jill on the Hill segment. Now, as far as how you figure out who fits for you, how does that necessarily work? You have options. Obviously, you have plenty of them in today's modern-day sports marketing, sports apparel landscape. But how do you figure out what is the best fit for you and your school when you're evaluating potential partners?
Great question. So it is like dating, right? You've got to be a good fit. And so, part of...
They have an app for it, huh?
There's an app, that's right. There's a part of the process is really, or part of what's happened, I should say, in the market over the last couple of years is Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, to some extent went big with some schools. So when I told you those top 20, and there's some $8, $7, $6, $5 million deals, they put a lot of their marketing resources into those deals. So it's not a given that all three are going to bid for every open contract, right? They have a lot of considerations, and then to your point, the school has a lot of considerations. So, I would argue that all of us are looking for similar characteristics in an apparel partner, and first and foremost is probably performance. And so, apparel I think is really important. I think footwear is very, very important.
Yep. Especially to the modern day. I think the modern day athlete even more so. It's one of the first questions I think you get from a lot of student athletes these days. Who are you with?
Yeah.
Who have you signed with?
And so performance but it does matter. But these are three excellent major companies, so it's not like you can make a decision alone, right? They all are doing a fine job producing great footwear, but you got to look at performance and quality. It may be as important, and something that might not go as noticed, when you're servicing 20 teams and 475 athletes and 50 coaches, is the customer service is a huge part of it. And all the major apparel and footwear players have very different customer service models, and I think there are pros to all of them. But it's, to your point, it's about what fits with your campus, what fits in your, the way, do you have 5 equipment managers or 1? Do the teams place their direct orders, or does one person handle all ordering? So you really do have to find the best match for you. Reputation, image, and I would put into that being a good corporate partner, corporate responsibility, fair labor. Are they taking care of where they're manufacturing their workers in whatever countries they're manufacturing these things in? That all matters.
Which has definitely been an issue in the past.
And I think that
probably still, depending on who you're talking about, may even still be an issue.
I think the companies have done a phenomenal job. They've worked with third-party organizations like the Fair Labor Association and the Workers' Rights Consortium.
Try and clean that up.
And they're doing a really, really good job. And there are folks who are helping them. You can't monitor everything your company's doing, but there are folks who are helping them. And so I think we're in pretty good shape there. So that's another key. And then, you want someone who's going to be more than transactional. I don't want to just have a partner who I'm ordering goods from and never see. So in addition to customer service, what's our partnership look like? Are we going to be proud of each other? Are we going to, try and cover the campus in whatever logo it's going to be? And then the scope. When you think of the scope of a contract, what are you covering and what aren't you going to cover? And that's where it gets interesting, because many of these deals on a national basis, and I'm not talking here just about St. Joe's or even about St. Joe's, but obviously one of the key things for the apparel footwear company is exclusivity in performance gear.
Yep.
But that's easier said than done, because all three, you take any of the big players, 3, 4, 5 of the big players, they don't make all products. They don't make boat shells for our rowers. They don't make, maybe some make lacrosse sticks, some don't, right? So there's categories that are going to be excluded by mutual agreement of the parties, and say, okay, we're gonna be exclusive in what our student athletes and our coaches wear, except when we don't make it. We don't make baseball bats. We don't make, whatever it might be.
So that's where obviously I don't want to say there's a gray area, but that's where there's a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. You're talking through what are our needs, what do you produce, and
Sure.
would you be okay if you don't produce it, or if you're admitting that it's still in testing phase, can we use other product?
Can we look elsewhere?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And that's where, we have coaches who say, Jill, we're in this product that's not one of the big 3 or big 4 or big 5. Can we still use that? So that scope or exclusivity becomes important. And the other side of the coin on exclusivity is and this goes to kind of the branding and reputational. The other flip side of that is exclusivity on non-performance gear, which is retail.
Sure. Now, does that include, because this is a question I've often had myself when I walk through the bookstore and you see different apparel partners, how does that work in terms of, what they can sell? And because it's not just necessarily Nike that I see in the bookstore. I've seen some Under Armour in the past and some lower level brands, things like that.
So generally speaking, retail in most college deals is not exclusive.
Okay.
And so
I just learned something.
You learned something.
Yeah.
And in part, that's because, most universities don't own their own bookstores. So you have third-party bookstores who have a bunch of vendors, and they're procuring product from a lot of different vendors, whether it's Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Champion, League, special retro. And so they have a broad group of vendors that they're looking at to fill the bookstore retail needs.
Champion. You remember when Champion was big?
I do. I remember Russell. I remember
Russell.
Champion.
I just felt really old.
I was a Converse kid. Are you too
Conver-
old to
no,
remember?
No, Chuck Taylor. Yeah, Chuck Taylor.
Well, how about do you remember the weapons? The Converse weapon, when the whole ad campaign was built on Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
Yeah, I do.
And Larry Bird they were white with the bright Celtics green and the Converse, and then there were purple and gold ones that were Magic's. So my high school happened to share the Celtics colors. So as a captain, I got to pick our shoes, and I went with the Larry Bird Converse weapons. He's from Indiana. I was from Indiana. So anyway, that's we got a little off track there, but that's how exclusivity works. So there's exclusivity in performance product, and that's a negotiation between you and the partner. And then there's exclusivity on retail, which is often very different. And that's the situation that we're in now. Don and the men's basketball program and Phil, we had a nice contract with Nike. Mm-hmm. Nike works with their customer service fulfillment partner called BSN. Shout out to both Nike and BSN.
I'm enjoying my Under Armour shirt, or my Under Armour, my dry fit Nike shirt, I should say.
Tooch is in his swoosh.
Yes, that's right.
So yeah, they've been fantastic partners. We have a great arrangements with them, but consistent with most apparel contracts, there's not exclusivity on retail. And then you ask yourself, the $1 million question is, how nice would that be for either party to have exclusivity? So if we were to, let's just pretend like the brand we're going with is Alligator. I just made that up. Is there a benefit in us having my made-up company being Alligator in everything you see? That it's St. Joe's and Alligator, right? And that we are as one, and that every product you're going to get. So those are all the conversations that go into this. And so we are in a position right now to be evaluating the market and went through the bid process. And, I've learned a lot about the market. I've learned a lot about what other schools do and how they handle this and what's important. And for me, in establishing the criteria that I kind of walked you through, performance, customer service, corporate responsibility, reputation, all those kind of things, I built those criteria by talking to our coaches and our student athletes.
What's the typical length of one of these deals, if there is one? How long of a window do you have? And here's the other question, I guess. When you're kind of toward the end of your window, at what point do you start evaluating, hey, it's time, we need to go seek out somebody else to work with or a new partner potentially?
Okay, so question one.
Yep.
These contracts are generally 5 to 10 years. 5, 7, 10 would be normal partnerships. The second question is, you have to order uniforms so far in advance for the fall. I'm looking at our soccer coaches here and wondering, to get the uniforms by August when they report. I think that they need to order them 9-10 months earlier.
I think that's only fair to your equipment manager too.
Exactly, exactly.
For all that stress.
So to procure them, to embellish them with all the great St. Joe's marks and name, that takes time. If there's custom colors, that's involved, custom designs. So it's really quite a long process. So when you think about looking to go out to market, so to speak, you got to think, boy, we better have someone in place so that we can order our goods to have them 10 months in advance.
Okay. And when you talk to your coaches and your student athletes, what do you find is most important in those conversations to them?
Not surprisingly, from the student athletes, it's performance. How do these feel on my feet? How do they feel on my body if I'm wearing apparel? That's important to our student athletes. Coaches, that, and customer service. If something goes wrong, and I don't mean somebody's at fault, but just, oh my gosh, we got 3 new players transferred in. How do we get uniforms ordered? Whatever is happening off the norm, how do we deal with that together as partners? So customer service is important to the coaches. Reputation in terms of on the recruiting trail is important to coaches as well. And, but then again, these are 17, 18-year-olds. You could ask them and get several different opinions on who prefers what products. So, yeah, I think generally speaking, service and performance were sort of the primary criteria among our coaches and student athletes.
How much do you feel like I guess the wants and the opinions have changed since you started in college athletics?
I will say that I've had the joy of being with all 3 companies, and I had a great experience. So at my prior institution, I was with both Adidas and then a transition to Under Armour, and then I came here and inherited a wonderful Nike BSN partnership. So, I think trends have changed over time. I think it's a bit of a cyclical, whimsical industry in some ways. What's hot, it's been fun to watch different initiatives of the companies. Some have doubled down on global, some have doubled down on women's issues. So, it's fun to follow those market trends and track what the companies are doing. But it's also been really fun for me to see how all three are very different. They, again, I had wonderful experiences with all 3 of them, and their approach and their product and their ordering systems and how much is online versus manual. It's really different stuff, and it's really fascinating. So I'm blessed to have been able to see all 3 of them in action.
Now, I guess it begs the question. You talked about the evaluation phase. What's next now for the Hawks in terms of that?
Yeah, so I'm really, really firm on the criteria, and we've had great presentations from the companies, and it's now kind of sitting down and weighing and measuring, and then very, very soon making an announcement. And then there's legal contracts and all the good stuff that go with any deal. But so yeah, that'll be coming in the next few weeks, and it's a really, really exciting time. It's been an exciting process. I've learned a lot, not only about the market, but about ourselves. In terms of what's important to our coaches and student athletes, in terms of what's important to our campus, in terms of look and feel, what sells, what people think is hip. It's been really interesting for me. So yeah, now it's time to make a decision and announce it.
Well, looking forward to it.
Yeah, Matt, good questions, and I'm glad you learned a couple things.
Yeah,
how you feeling? You feel educated,
yes,
or do you have any? Okay.
No, I feel pretty well educated. A couple of housekeeping items while we do, in fact, have you up here chatting with Rob Sullivan and some other folks. For those of you out there, coming up, it's tomorrow night, Thursday night, women's soccer game, 7 p.m. kickoff at Sweeney Field. What's a big one for the women's program? And then not too far off, it's hard to believe now that I say this as we sit here, wow, October 23rd, we are, as I say this, I'm counting my days here, 13 days. Is it 13 or is it less than that? Is it less than 2 weeks? Less than 2 weeks. Yeah, 13 days.
I think it's 13.
From the start of our men's basketball season. There'll be an exhibition game Monday night out at Hagan Arena against Justin Scott's former employer, Arcadia. 7 o'clock tip-off. Pat McCarthy and Joe Lenardi will have that call for you. And, of course, the women's soccer game Thursday night, tomorrow night at Sweeney Field. But how excited are you just to get hoops going? It feels like it starts earlier and earlier every year, but if you're a hoop head like me, that's good. I like that.
It's good. It does start earlier every year. Again, another shout out to the women's game against Rhode Island on Thursday. It's a huge game, and Thursday nights at Sweeney are fun. But yeah, the basketball season's here. I had an opportunity. I can't talk about it, but I was deemed essential personnel to watch our closed scrimmages.
I like that.
And it was really just fun to see them compete against different schools. And I thought there were some really, really great things for both teams. And, they're both young. They're both getting to know each other. They both have a lot of new players. So, this year is not going to be as much judged by wins as it is going to be, are they learning? Are they growing? Are they coming together? Are they learning how to play with each other? And so I'm really excited to see both teams kind of kick it off and unveil what they've been working on all spring, summer, and fall.
Yeah, and I think it's you just mentioned those criteria. It's what's the energy look like? What's the attitude in competition look like? And I don't think you're ever going to have any question about what kind of energy, what kind of effort there is, night in, night out when Billy Lang's on the sideline.
Yeah, I think that's right. We've talked over the summer with student athletes and alumni and coaches and others. We came up with sort of what is a Hawk. And for the listeners who might not have heard this, the 4 words we really settled on are resilient, selfless, honorable, and bold. And the 2 that really strike me when it comes to team performance are resilient, and that hands down has to be the most important because we are the Hawk will never die as our motto. And so that resiliency, that gritty, that fight back, that blue collar mentality,
never
that
quit.
energy, exactly. And I was thrilled with what I saw from both teams on that front. And then the second one, selfless. Like, it's really hard in a team sport, and all of our teams are team sports, whether you think they're individual or not. You're all trying to advance as a team. It's hard to succeed if you don't have that selflessness. In other words, do I put my own playing time, my own statistics in the back seat compared to the success of our team? So I'm really excited about the chemistry on both teams from those resiliency and selfless perspectives.
Looking forward to seeing it. Monday night is our first taste of St. Joseph's men's basketball under Billy Lang. 7 o'clock, once again, tip-off for the Hawks exhibition game against Arcadia. And, of course, once again, women's soccer tomorrow night. Big game for the Hawks on Sweeney Field. What will be under the lights and a 7 p.m. kickoff.
Yep.
Jill, looking forward to many more of these Jill on the Hill segments on the St. Joseph's Athletics radio show. And thank you for the education tonight.
Hey, thanks for your great questions, Matt. Good.
I do feel like I learned quite a bit.
Great. So. Appreciate having me. Thank you for doing this.
Yep. So
and shout out to our field hockey team who was great tonight.
Yeah, thanks to Lynn Farquhar and our 4 student athletes. A couple big games coming up for them once again Friday, and then, of course, the big matchup coming again. I believe it's on Is it Sunday against Michigan?
Yeah, Sunday the 27th. What a great opportunity 27th. What a great opportunity for a non-conference game in the heat of your regular season to kind of, get a test outside the conference and see where you are. So that'll be fun.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. For Jill Bodensteiner, Matt Martucci saying so long here from J.D. McGillicuddy's. This has been the St. Joseph's Athletics radio show. A couple more housekeeping items tonight. We are brought to you by our great sponsors, Independence Blue Cross. Caring is in all of us. Lankenau Medical Center, the best place to rebound from injury or illness. Rothman Institute, when you get injured, think Rothman Institute. And right here at J.D. McGillicuddy's, a great place to unwind and kick back and watch a game. Come on in and let their friendly staff welcome you in and treat you as one of our own. This has been a presentation from Van Wagner Sports and Entertainment of the St. Joseph's Athletics radio show. Have a great night, everybody, and wait for a future announcement of our next date. There are going to be plenty of them for both our winter and spring sports. This has been the Hawk Talk St. Joseph's Athletics radio show from the St. Joseph Sports Network.
Hey, Hawk fans! Hungry or thirsty after the game? Stop by J.D. McGillicuddy's Havertown or Upper Darby locations. J.D.'s is a proud sponsor of St. Joseph's Athletics. Their sports bar and food is one of a kind. Try their world-famous wings, burgers, steaks, or one of their famous Big 5 sandwiches. They have it all. When the Hawks are on the road, catch the game there on one of their 10 flat-screen TVs. The Hawk will never die at J.D. McGillicuddy's Sports Pub. For more info, check out their website at jdmcgillicuddys.com. Go Hawks!
Life isn't made for pain. Life is made for living. You should be free to run, to jump, to bike, to hike, to work, to play. This is why the experts at Rothman Orthopedics are getting you back in the game. As the official orthopedic partner of the Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, and 76ers, because big or small, epic or ordinary, you deserve to spend your days truly living. We are Rothman Orthopedics. This is living. RothmanOrtho.com.